Good morning and welcome to Mission Control Houston. We're inside the International Space Station Flight Control Room, where the team is monitoring systems aboard the station and following along with the activities of the Expedition 30 crew, who's living and working on board the complex. The crew is working through the early afternoon of its day on board, with a focus on maintenance work, science activities, and the preparation for the departure of a cargo vehicle from the station next week. All of the crew members are working on a shifted schedule today. They awakened at 1:30 a.m. Central Time, about an hour and a half later, and will go to sleep about 5:30 p.m. Central Time. And that was to adjust the schedule to allow for some preparations with the 45 Progress vehicle that is attached to the station, and those activities to occur while the station was orbiting over Russian ground sites. The particular activity being scheduled is to install a microsatellite called the Chibis-M satellite inside the hatchway of the Progress, so that after the Progress departs the station, the hatch will be open and that microsatellite will be deployed. Cosmonauts Anton Shkaplerov and Oleg Kononenko are working on that activity later today. That nanosatellite will be deployed on Tuesday, January 24th, about 5:19 p.m. Central Time, at a distance of about 7,300 statute miles behind and 62 miles above the station, one day after the Progress 45 undocks from the complex. The satellite will spend at least 4 years in space collecting data on plasma wave activity. The Progress then is scheduled to undock from the station on Monday. It will be removed from the docking compartment on the station at about 4:10 p.m. Central Time. And then on the 24th, after that satellite has been deployed, the Progress will be commanded to deorbit into the Earth's atmosphere and burn up over the Pacific Ocean. In other work on board the space station today, astronaut Don Pettit is working with some science experiments. He's been gathering the hardware for the SLICE experiment so it can be installed in the microgravity science glove box tomorrow. He's also working on that glove box to help prepare it for its science work and doing some recertification work of it. The SLICE is the structure and liftoff and combustion experiment, which investigates the nature of flames in microgravity. The results from those experiments could lead to improvements in technologies which aim to reduce pollution emissions and improve burning efficiency for a wide variety of industries. Pettit will also be performing an ultrasound scan of his leg later, in some remote help from the ground team in doing that procedure for an experiment called SPRINT, which is also Integrated Resistance and Aerobic Training Study, which evaluates the use of high-intensity, low-volume exercise training to minimize the loss of muscle, bone, and cardiovascular function in space station crew members while living on board the space station for long-duration missions. Elsewhere on the complex, Space Station Commander Dan Burbank has been working on upgrading some software on a communications unit, the backup unit that would be used for commercial visiting vehicles to the complex, such as the SpaceX Dragon vehicle. Burbank is also assisting with that microgravity science glove box maintenance. European Space Agency astronaut Andrei Kuipers is wrapping up his work with an experiment this week called the Integrated Cardiovascular Experiment, which is monitoring and studying the extent of cardiac atrophy, or the decrease in the size of the heart muscle. He's wrapping up a monitoring session in which he's worn a halter to measure his physical activity and cardiac work for a few days. On the ground, the team here has been working on some robotics activities. The robotics flight control team has been remotely commanding some of the robotic systems on the outside of the station this week, and today that involved using the space station robotic arm and its Dexter attachment to survey an experiment on the outside of the station. The Space Test Program Houston 3 payload is on the outside of the complex, located on the P3 or Port 3 truss structure, exposed to the environment of space, and is being surveyed to see how it's been faring in that position. It is a complement of 4 individual experiments that are testing concepts in low Earth orbit on the outside of the space station before future long-duration missions.